The top SAO fights ranked, the best ones and why I placed them on this list. Definitely get your own list ready. But first, today's SAO video is brought to you by Crossing Void. Are you ready for the Avengers of anime mobile games? You got over 25 anime series, 50 plus anime waifus. Enjoy this turn-based all-out brawl using characters like Asuna, Kirito, Kuroyukuhime, Mikoto, Ren, Holo, Yuuki, Shana, and 50 plus other popular characters. More being updated. Combine characters like Asuna teaming up with Yuuki for her ultimate mother's Rosario cross skill. Or go ahead and cross Asuna with a different anime character. How about Asuna teamed up with Emi? And yes, you have all these different anime characters interacting with one another. It's pretty awesome. On top of this, they are voiced by the original Japanese voice actors. Go ahead and pick your favorite character and play with them in private for a bit. So here's the best part, Crossing Void actually launched today globally. Go ahead and download via my specific link to get this free S-Rank anime waifu today. And yes, you can select them. So how about SAO Kirito? Just in time for SAO Season 3 is Integrity Knight Alice. So go ahead and click the first link after this video to enjoy Asuna, Kirito, Alice, and a ton of your favorite anime characters. Definitely be sure to join the community contest where you can vote for your top favorite character. Anyway, let's go ahead and dive into this. Kicking this off, Kirito vs Integrity Knight Eugeo. Oh, Kirito versus his best blonde buddy. Who could have ever seen Eugeo quietly going over to the dark side? You had these fated friends with similar swords. They must have been destined to fight one another. Despite the circumstances, the actual fight was quite the pleasure. Eugeo had always been this kid who had great potential. Being set up for this fight versus Kirito as Integrity Knight Eugeo, it finally felt like Eugeo was able to display his full potential. Thankfully, at the very end, Eugeo made it back. Briefly anyway. Kirito versus Death Gun. Actually, Kirito and Sinon. So you had Death Gun being the ultimate big bad from the GGO arc, the one behind all the various VR murders. It felt like it was Laughing Coffin just laughing and taunting at Kirito from beyond the grave. Death Gun seemed to be the perfect matchup against Kirito and Sinon. The guy had access to weapons like the suppressed sniper, a freaking space-crafted weapon, plus an invisible cloak to sweeten the deal. Not to mention actually having the VR abilities to match up against Kirito and Sinon. Naturally, SAO fans were happy to see the bright light show from Kirito's lightsaber mode. However, what really made this SAO Death Gun match for me was the Sinon and Kirito combo. You had Kirito really getting pushed to his absolute limits. Ultimately, it was Sinon's last help that tipped the balance in his favor. Good game, Death Gun. Kirito and Eugeo vs Fanatio, specifically the Blu-ray edition. I know there's been some of you vocal SAO fans about SAO Alicization not having those shiny, multi-swing action sequences. To be fair to SAO Season 3, there's an actual story reason for that. But to be fair to you, that Goblin fight earlier on did feel like it set a high level of expectations that wasn't going to happen in the Underworld for a good while. Fast forward to the Integrity Knight raid battles. One by one, Kirito and Eugeo were slowly progressing floor by floor. Oh my god, is that an Einkrite reference? With Fanatio, you finally had the Vice Commander of the Integrity Knights. Later, you found out, due to Fanatio's not so deep insecurities, she had trained herself to further improve her sword. At the cost of Kirito ending up like freaking Swiss cheese, SAO fans finally got a spectacle of a fight versus the Integrity Knights. Of course, none of this would have mattered if there wasn't meaning behind those powerful blows. Kirito and Leafa versus that Salamander guild. This is one of those SAO fights that's pretty often overlooked. This fight was another one of those situations that showcased Kirito's will and determination to advance forward. Sure, they could have just lost, given up, been completely wiped out, then tried again the next day. But no, not today. The opposing team, Salamanders armed with tanks, and ranged magic users that should have easily devastated Kirito and Leafa, which they did. This leads into another reason I love this. Overlooked is how easily Kirito would have died and was actually rapidly dying had he been there solo. You know, just himself without support from Leafa. Hell yes, thank you supporters and healers. Then the rest is history. At the very end, a cherry on top with a nice callback to SAO via that Gleam Eyes transformation. Kirito vs Kayaba, the SAO creator round 2. Kinda funny how this contributed to the Kirito overpower claims. Kirito previously lost to Kayaba using his unique skill. In reality, Kirito should have had near zero chances against the creative of the SAO Death game. Honestly, for me, I don't feel like the actual fight animation is much to boast about. Good chunks of reused animation. What makes this memorable and perhaps iconic is the literal weight of the fight. It was do or die time for Kirito. Eventually, Kirito ended up screwing up using his sword skill, just like Kayaba hoped for. And yes, the great Kirito did lose, which was another reason I love this. Unfortunately, how the anime displayed this has confused millions of anime fans. Oh my god, Kirito revived and resurrected somehow, hacker, despite it being Kirito only imagining himself dying, not actually happening. Ultimately, you had Asuna coming in, shielding Kirito from the death blow, which is another reason I place this here. Kirito did lose, but then got a second chance, only after Asuna's push forward and her sacrifice. Kirito vs the World Tree Guardians Round 1. It feels like this is an underrated SAO battle. You were so close. You only had this final obstacle separating Kirito from his beloved Asuna, or at least he thought so. The only problem? It just happened to be this impossible quest. For any hardcore video game people, you should definitely get some reminders from this fight. This actually reminded me of my MMO days, just recalling how often my guild and I would run into these impossible raid boss battles or challenges. For Kirito's struggle in Alpha Online, he naively tried to solo the damn thing. And yes, we've all been that person. You even saw a glimpse of him almost trying to imitate his former dual blade style, only to fail and take damage instead. Ultimately, Kirito's will and determination fueling his struggle allowed him to get close to the finish line, at least visually. But no, failure was pretty much guaranteed. In the end, a crushing defeat for Kirito. Yes, Kirito died, despite the claims of him supposedly being overpowered. Kirito vs Quinella, the most recent SAO anime finale. After around 2 years in their Underworld adventure, it finally led to facing against the overpowered church leader, Quinella. So much to love here. First off, you had Kirito using the incarnation system to go back to his SAO getup. Kirito finally dual-wielding too. Sayonara to his former SAO blades. Welcome the new era. The Red Rose Sword plus the Night Sky Blade combo. Really the symbolism of Eugeo right there with Kirito. Quinella herself was actually handicapped at the start of this fight. Despite that, Quinella was fully aware about the SAO sword skills and how to counter them. This whole Quinella fight does serve as its parallel to Kirito's mistake in the Aincrad arc. This time Kirito was actually successful without using his beloved Starburst stream, although victory came at a heavy toll. It's like the gods smashing Kirito from the heavens. The dual-blade swordsman lost an arm from the fight. Try dual-wielding now. But most important was the loss of his best blonde buddy. Good night, sweet prince. Kirito vs the Minotaur. Definitely not only one of the most iconic SAO fights, but honestly anime fights in general. And that isn't just me putting this SAO fight on a pedestal. SAO lovers and SAO trolls alike know of this fight instantly. And it's perhaps partly what started the whole Kirito is supposedly overpowered stuff. For the actual fight, suddenly you had Kirito, Asuna, and friends fighting this overpowered floor boss. You could thank a certain smart individual for that one. The first part I loved from this fight was actually something from Asuna. Asuna displayed how quickly she was willing to act. If it was in her power, Asuna would try to rescue others. Possible death be damned. Then naturally what makes this episode and fight so iconic is this being what made Kirito known as the infamous dual-blade swordsman. Talk about anime flex. I was simply hiding my full power. And I still see anime fans wrongly claim that Kirito soloed this Minotaur boss. Despite the reality, the boss was already injured, not to mention Klein and Asuna helping out. Further, not to mention Kirito and the others fighting this floor boss in a way that would have helped further maximize their damage. But this wasn't without risk. You saw Kirito drop down to his last blood of HP, which is another reason I love this battle. Kirito really had only one hand out the grave. Asuna vs Yuuki. Sadly for us hardcore Asuna fans, Asuna was put on the silence due to story reasons in the second half of the SAO Season 1 anime. It was finally time to make it up to Asuna, her being the focus in the Mother's Rosario arc. You really felt Asuna's struggle here, yet Asuna's insecurities and everything going on mentally above. It was all finally hitting that boiling point. To your surprise and Asuna's surprise, she got this unexpected challenge. How about it, Asuna? Wanna try and fight the great and powerful Yuuki? And to this day, I still recall when this episode dropped. I swear I rewatched the Asuna vs Yuuki fight into the double digits. I definitely teared up more than once. It was pretty awesome and even inspiring to see how Asuna started this fight. Yet Asuna, with the weight of everything going on in her life, plus at the same time actually trying to put a battle and sword hits into this female newcomer. Finally, Asuna was truly able to put everything aside for the moment. With the complete focus, mixed with their years of SAO VR experience, Asuna definitely gave Yuuki a run for her money. It did feel like Asuna may have taken a move out of the Kirito book with that one punch. Dati dati. And such a spectacle. Yuuki vs Asuna with that top tier soundtrack to match. Rest in peace, Yuuki. Before the number 1 best SAO fight, a few quick honorable mentions. Kirito, Asuna, and the guild versus the Skull Reaper. Recall that absolute terror you felt seeing this beast. We had this Reaper coming down and just one-hit KOing person after person. Even with Kayaba using his cheap defense, not good enough. You knew they were fighting a losing battle. Ultimately, it was Asuna once again that pushed Kirito to get back in there. This whole thing does lose a few points due to the full fight not actually being shown. Kirito vs Kayaba round 1. At the time, you had no idea that it was actually Kirito up against the SAO creator. No, you only knew it was the unique dual blade skill versus the unique divine defense from the gods. Really just to warm up before round 2. Kirito vs Eugene. Fans of SAO love this fight since they saw this overpowered Kirito versus another top player. I love this battle not only since it showed this pretty awesome air fight, but it was one of those great times that it showed Kirito thinking outside the box. So how to stop this overpowered character with an even more overpowered cheat weapon? Why not borrow a second blade? Too bad Kirito didn't have any system assist there. Those years of SAO sure paid off. Kirito and Eugeo versus the Goblins, SAO Season 3. Really a warm up for this SAO Alicization adventure. This Goblin fight in fact did get elevated a few levels for the anime, and perhaps it did its job a little too well. More of what was displayed here actually wouldn't come for a good while for the Season 3 SAO clashes. Kirito, Asuna, and everyone versus the final SAO boss. The entire raid battle, start to finish. I still recall watching the SAO Ordinal Skill movie here in Japan, private screening too. The SAO movie felt like this perfect blend, an outstanding mixture that built on every single SAO arc that came before it. The cherry on top? How about actually completing the SAO Aincrad Castle? Over the years since SAO Season 1, I've seen a ton of SAO fans and SAO haters alike that wished SAO continued for a few hundred episodes. The Aincrad story. Part of what was missing was this complete floor traversal. Eventually, the SAO progressors on the front lines, with countless losses, bathed in sweat and blood, reaching that ultimate final boss. Miss Aincrad over here finally gave you hardcore loyal SAO fans a juicy mouthful. Any gaming veteran knows full well how frustrating these final bosses could be. You got the pesky boss with vibranium level defense armor. Oh, you got multiple barrier shields too? The cherry on top for this Death Sunday is a raid boss spamming their one-hit KO moves. That's always fun. Thankfully, Yui showed up right on time. And let's be honest, the actual final boss fight should have been much tougher, even with several more unique sword skills. This ultimate showdown gave everyone a chance to shine. That included Liz and Silica. By the way, weren't they low level in SAO? Agio and Klein, who made him suck a little less. Naturally, had Kirito with his ultimate Starburst stream. Final hit too. What a kill stealer. However, the outstanding moment for me here definitely involves seeing Asuna finally using her mother's Rosario move in the anime, years earlier too. So come on, some company, please, make an Asuna Yuuki mother's Rosario combo figure. I would drop my pants for that, I mean wallet. Really quickly, once again, a huge thank you to Crossing Void. Hopefully this video got you inspired for some action. Crossing Void should be able to satisfy you. It now is available globally free, so definitely check my link out and download it today. Anyway, go ahead and post your top 5 or just your favorite SAO fight. Was it in Season 1, Season 2, or Season 3? Definitely smash that thumbs up, subscribe for more juicy anime videos, check out these past SAO videos, My Hero Academia videos, and I'll see you guys later.